Welcome to Mishna study, Masechet Kilayim, Perek Bet Mishna Tet. Over here in this Mishnah, we're going to discuss if a person has a field and he wants to plant square patches, right? He wants to fill his field with, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He wants to just keep on planting different types of grains, different types of plants, vegetables, whatever it may be in his field. And he wants to maximize. How much is he allowed to plant in this field if he's going to plant patch by patch by patch? And Hachamim are mekel. You'll see from this Mishnah, they have a certain kula involved over here. Actually, according to Harambam, they do. I'm not sure if everyone would hold of this, but according to Harambam, they do. Now, we're talking about a field. How big is this field that we're talking about? This field is called a bet se'ah. A bet se'ah is 50 amma by 50 amma, right? So 50 amma wide, 50 amma deep, comes out to 2,500 square amot. Remember, the amma is about 1.5 feet, so 75 feet by 75 feet. He has this, and he wants to go ahead and plant a what we call a karahat, right? Karahat is a little square field, right? Little square patch in that field. You'll see I have a couple of pictures which will help explain it. What's the max that he could go ahead and plant from these fields? So, if a person wants to make his field patch by patch of different types of species, so this is going to be Rabbi Meir's opinion. He can make 25 different patches in a bet se'ah. 24 different patches in a bet se'ah. Mikarahat le bet rova. Each karahat, right, each square is going to be a bet rova. Bet rova is how much? Bet rova comes out to 10. If you take we have to remember okay. First, let's see what this looks like. So this is according to Rabbi Meir's opinion. He's doing 24. So I set it up as a 4 by 6. I think this is the best way to explain this. It's 50 amot by 50 amot field. He goes ahead and he plants different types. Let's say wheat. The next one over to the right is oats. The next one over is barley. The next one's corn. He can do different things. Mustard seeds. He can do whatever he wants. He could plant in here. And he plants all this accordingly. And how much is he allowed to plant? So each one of these little squares comes out to a bet rova. How much is a bet rova? So it comes out to approximately 10.2 by 10.2, right? If you're going to take the actual, the actual area of it. The point over here, though, we have to know that a rova, what's a rova? A rova is a quarter, right? So we're talking about a quarter of a kav. Remember, a se'ah, we're talking about this is a bet se'ah. We're talking about a quarter of a kav. So it comes out to a 24th of this field, right? So each one of these boxes is 1/24th of the total bet se'ah. Now, according to the Rabbi Meir, if you have these, squared off, you're allowed to go ahead and plant in each one of these something else. And they look separated. Why do they look separated? Because they're boxed off. According to Rabbi Meir, that's enough. And this is going to be the most lenient opinion now, Mishnah, because they look boxed off, because of their look as a square, then each item looks separated, and therefore you don't have to separate any separation between them. Now, Rabbi Meir continues, and he says, Haita karahat achat o shtaim zoran hardal. If he has one or two, right? If he has 1 or 2 patches of mustard seeds next to each other, he is allowed to plant that. That's fine. But shalosh, if he wants to plant 3 in a row, lo yizra'im hardal. He can't plant 3 of them as mustard seeds because at that point, it looks like a field of mustard seeds. Now, mustard seeds, they wouldn't plant a lot at once. It wouldn't be like, you plant a field of wheat where you're going to take up the whole field, you planted all of wheat. Mustard seeds, if you plant a little, it's already people, that's what they will plant as their whole field. So if you fill up 3 of these squares adjacent to each other with mustard seeds, it looks like a mustard seed field. And if it's a mustard field, you can't go ahead and plant, it looks like if you plant barley in there or wheat in there, it's going to look like Kilayim because it looks like you're planting wheat in a mustard field. But if you only have 1 or 2 patches of mustard seeds, that's fine. because it's not a mustard field. And then if you go ahead and plant it accordingly, like the way the Bimir explained it, that would be okay. That's all according to the Bimir. Now, Chachamim say, Chachamim omrim, Tesha karahot mutarot ve'eser asurot. 9 is allowed, 10 is asur. Now, how is 9 allowed, 10 asur? So Harambam breaks this up, and he says, if you were to divide, right, you have to know, first of all, I should have said it earlier, if you're going to take the bet se'ah that we're talking about, 50 by 50 amot, right, and you're going to divide it, right, into 24 equal parts, well, in general, right, you'll have 24 equal parts, it'll be 10.2 by 10.2. 10.2 amot by 10.2 amot, right? That would be the, right, it'd basically be the, that would be the area that would be used. And right, it's basically taking the math of it. It's taking the 50 amot by 50 amot is 2,500 square amot, right? If you're going to divide 2,500 into 24, you'll have 104.16666. And if you take the square root of 104.166, because you want to get each side, it comes out to 10.2 by 10.2, just about, approximately 10.206, right, by 10.206. That's what it comes out to. So if you're going to have a 24th of a bet se'ah, each box will come out to 10.2 by 10.2. Now, Chachamim say that you're allowed to plant 9. Look at the green marks over here. There's 9 green marks, and they need to be separated by these other empty white boxes. Now, if you're going to measure them out, according to Chachamim, each one of these green boxes is going to be 10.2, like we said, by 10.2. But being that we're putting 25 spaces over here, the space in between is not going to be 10.2, right? If you're planting the first green patch on the top left as wheat, and then you want to plant the middle one barley and the next one oats, right? If the whole thing is 50 amot wide, and you're planting 10.2, another 10.2, another 10.2, that means you're planting 30.6. What's left for the 2 empty spaces? If you planted 30.6, that means what's left, 50 minus 30.6, comes out to 29.4. 29.4, if you divide it by the 2 white spaces, that's going to come out to 18 point, what does it come out to? 29.4 comes out to wait, no, again, 50, there was 50 amot across, right? You took off 30.6. You left with 19, right? You left with 19.4. So each one of these white spaces is 9.7. So if you're going to plant 10.2, 10.2, and 10.2, it needs to be separated by 9.7 amot in between. Now, this is a hidush, according to Chachamim, because usually you need 10.2 amot to space out in between. But because you're planting in patches, you're allowed to plant 9 patches, and they'll all be separated by 9.7 amot. You don't need 10.2 in this case. It's a kula according to Chachamim. Halacha is going to be like Chachamim, and you're allowed to plant, allowed to plant patches of 10.2 amot as long as they're separated by 9.7 amot. That's according to Chachamim. You're allowed to plant 9 patches. You're not allowed to plant 10. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov omer, afilu kol sadeu bet kor, lo yaseh betocha chutz mikarachat echad. Even if your whole field was a bet kor, which is 30 times the size of a bet se'ah. So it's 2,500 amot by 2,500 amot. Right? That's massive. Right? Even so, over there, even so, you're not allowed to go ahead and plant this. Right? You're not allowed to go ahead and plant, any patches inside. The only thing you're allowed to do is plant 1 species in this whole field, and there's no kula of patches according to Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Halacha is like Chachamim, like we said, that you're allowed to plant 9 patches and not 10, and that really sums up our Mishnah in Masechet Kilayim.